Good morning, traders. It is 6:09 a.m. on June 28th. Today is Friday. Welcome to my trading journal. This is the Jigsaw day trader platform. It's just order flow, depth of markets, I don't know, order books, whatever you want to call them. But this is just trading on order flow. There are 5 products here, left to right. This is Ultra Bond, 30-year, 5-year, 10-year, and the ES E-mini S&P. This is pre-market right now. Cash opens in about 20 minutes. So that's why it's a little bit slow right now. Excuse me, still trying to wake up, but we're getting there. So I'm working an order here at 23.5 because first of all, I noticed that look how orderly the volume profiles are all these products this morning. So this is all your overnight action. It's a lot different, dramatically different than what we've seen lately. We've seen very huge ranges with a lot of sporadic volume, but last night it auctioned very orderly. I saw that this morning when I first sat down, and I thought it's going to be traders are in charge, and it's going to be the outside edges are going to be, I think, good places to engage because traders are in charge. And sure enough, it dropped down here to the overnight low very briefly. Buyers stepped right in almost immediately and popped it a couple ticks off the lows. Excuse me, and it's kind of stalled out here at 24.5, 25. But I think if it does drop back in, that buyers would step back up and take it up higher again. So that's why I'm hanging an order out there like that. Normally I wouldn't do that. I tried to pay up too, but it was just a goner. So, and I'm not buying it at 24.5 just because a little bit, if you look at a chart, there's a little bit of a structural resistance in here. Anyway, that said, let's kind of plow through our routine here really quick while this runs away from me. Let's look at a quick chart. I don't care about that. And this does not look like this looks like it. Yep, okay. Trying to get squared away here. So where did we open yesterday? Right around in here, dropped in, traded down, back up to the highs, and then now we're trading right about the lows, just about to bounce off the lows. So again, just very orderly. Probably have the resistance here at 25.5. So we have PMI at 6:45, and we have consumer sentiment at 7 a.m. Looks like those are a couple that could be movers. This is where we saw that resistance. And go ahead and delete this, might as well, because it's gone. So, yeah, we have 6:45. We have an announcement. Let's go back to that real quick. 6:45 and then 7. We have consumer sentiment. I remember those being kind of movers, so maybe more in the equity markets than us. But with that said, last few days I haven't really been in the right mindset to trade. Got other things going on in life. And so I've taken some days off, and I'm going to be very conservative today as well. So if something comes up, I will restart the video. Otherwise, just won't be any trades and nothing to post. So it is what it is. So we're back. It's about 6:33 a.m. and we just had cash open about 3 minutes in. We dropped back into the overnight low here, and we've sort of held as ES. I mean, this range is super small, but it's pushed up a couple times, and it's starting to build a little bit of volume here. And so normally I don't engage in the first few minutes of cash open, but given the context of everything that's going on today, I'm going to keep an eye on this and maybe try to get a fill here. Let's see as they try to take 23.5 again. Keep an eye on the 30-year and the 5-year. So they've tried to take it several times. We'll go ahead and take a shot at it. Let's see what happens here. Last time we pushed up to the point of control, which is 26. Let's see if we can put a runner on here. Maybe we can get a little bit higher. Basically, if we pop the lows, we're wrong. It's a pretty straightforward trade. Doesn't get any more straightforward than that. Just keep an eye on the 30-year, still at the overnight low. 5 years, still a couple ticks off. Definitely responding over here to the ES. The only issue with engaging this early in the cash open is that the ES just hasn't picked a direction yet. So if these products are responding to the ES, this thing's just flipping around over here and they don't know what to do. So that's really why, you know, I've stayed away typically for that exact reason. Because whatever you're reading over here could maybe, you know, it's not necessarily the truth if it's just reacting to what's happening over here. Or it could be momentary. Clean this up. Clean this up. Definitely need the 30-year to hold. Had about 10,000 contracts absorb over here at this level thus far. But if the ES kind of bolts higher, gets above current high, I think this could, it might be able to push that down and pop it through. Hopefully it gets sold. Or it might just sit there in range until we have some data come out. That's the other risk here, is that you have the 6:45 and the 7 o'clock. And if we have to sit here and hold this thing, it could disrupt the auction and blow through levels that we don't want. It's turning into quite the profile step here at 23.5. So it might be just because we have some data coming out here pretty soon. But the bids and offers look, I mean, you got some size up here, but right at the inside market, they're not that beefy. 2,500. So that offer just beefed up over here at 23.5. Looks like they might be trying to push this thing through. 30 years making new lows, 5 years at the lows. Things have kind of shifted for us a little bit. Yeah, just got stopped out. Okay. I think we'll wait till after the data and everything till 6:45, 7. And then see if there's any sort of opportunities. Go from there. Just real quick, I just wanted to restart the quarter again. It's 6:42 a.m. and I just wanted to point out that we dipped down through the overnight low and then we were back up through my entry at 24. At 24, so it would have been one tick in the money like almost immediately. And this is exactly the perils of engaging in the first 10 to 15 minutes of market open. Is that, I mean, it's selling back down now, but I could have just held that, let's see, where did I put my stop loss? 22.5. So it probably would have been, it wouldn't have traded through 22, but it would have shot back up and I could have had a scratch if I wanted it. Probably wouldn't have taken it, but I'd still be in the game here. On a normal three tick stop loss. This is just the perils of engaging here at the in the first 15 minutes of cash open. Now that said, I want to see what happens at this point to see if this continues to trade lower, or if because buyers stepped up there pretty quick, or it could have been covering, but I'm not entirely sure. We have 1 minute till data comes out. It could have been just repositioning real quick. Excuse me. Repositioning before the data. But we only popped the overnight low by 2 ticks. Normally, if it's significant, they try to get it, a few ticks past, and that turns into in this case, a resistance spot. So we just had the announcement come out. I'll tell you what, I feel like this might just be a feeling. I'd have to go back and look at the videos and everything, but I feel like I've been getting just stopped out by a tick a lot lately. And then the market ends up going in my direction. Oh yeah, that's a big miss in the PMI. But let me continue my thought as I feel like I've been ticked into, and then, market ends up going in my direction. I mean, I sized down on my lot size. Maybe I should bring that out a few more ticks as far as my stop loss. That'd be the next logical thing to do. Anyway, just going to regroup over here and We'll see if this drops back in by some miracle. So we just had 7 a.m. We just had consumer sentiment come out, the Michigan consumer sentiment poll, and it was right on as estimated. So that was enough to push this down a couple ticks. See if this drops in again. Looks like selling's picked up. See what happens if we get down here to the overnight low again. I think in trading you kind of have to get over things very, very quickly. Just sitting here thinking about the last time we were down here and getting stopped out, having my stop a little too close. Probably entered a little bit too early. 23 half, sorry. 23 is probably ideal entry, obviously, because that's exactly where the overnight low is. But at the same time, the context didn't really dictate that I have to bring my stop up so close, I don't think. But regardless, that 2-tick loss is nothing. I can easily get that back, so that's I'm totally okay with that. I can definitely live with that. You never know. Granted, the context is one thing, but that could change on a dime. It could definitely turn on a dime, and this could have bolted way lower. And if I didn't have a stop in place, could have been disastrous. So that's what they're there for. That's why we use them. But the price action definitely picked up here. Couldn't even get back down to the overnight low thus far. So we'll see what happens. Pause video. So I hate to keep harping on this, but we're up at 28 here, and that would have been my third target for the day. It's hard not to get discouraged. I don't think, looking back at this, 23 half was the only place there was an entry. I mean, we dropped down the overnight low, and there's no indication to buy that at that point. So it just shot back up. There was no real setup or... So the only thing was just hanging in that trade, which obviously I didn't. I got stopped out, and it went in my direction. So it's just, I'm sitting here a little bit frustrated, feeling the emotion of that, trying not to let it get to me. But that's all. I just wanted to start up and say that. Just very, very frustrating. It's Friday. It's normally a very slow day, and it's shaping up that way. And people are going to drop off here pretty quickly. It's going to get slower and slower as the minutes go on, and so there's not really another opportunity to get that money back or even try to be green today, get in the money. Frustrating. So we have this little profile step kind of developing over here. I've had about 10,000 absorb here at 28. The problem is the ES is just so weak that they just not going to be able to hold it too much longer. It's just, there's another step developing over here in the 30-year. Ultra bond's heading higher. Looks like the 30 years popping that step. I just don't think it's going to hold unless ES here is making new pit lows. It's starting to approach the overnight low here at 30. If it pops the overnight low, probably easily blow that step. Okay, well, it's 7:37. We are up at the overnight high, and it's been a pretty orderly auction up until this point. My concern is if we do pop through the overnight high, this could turn into a trend day like yesterday. Because I just see buyers just foot on the gas, unrelenting, kind of like they were yesterday when I watched it. I don't do well in trade, or in trend scenarios. I think I missed getting filled. I'm trying to remember, but I missed a fill, and then that was it for me. It just went the other way, and it just steamrolled all the way higher. I think it was yesterday, if I recall. And that's not really my cup of tea, I guess. And that sort of looks like what's happening today. No real selling thus far. Tried to take that down. They tried to take it off for at 29.5, and it just got sucked right up. Just soaked up by the buyers. And then they immediately hit up. Wasn't 100% sure on that one, but I took it anyway. A few reasons, just because we've had such an orderly auction thus far. And we haven't seen any acceleration through the overnight high yet. Sellers are definitely present. That's exactly what we want to see, that it goes offer and then they immediately start hitting down. We need that offer to beef up quite a bit. When the offer beefs up, people basically have to, they realize they're not going to get filled, and they have to skip over that and start hitting market orders down. And market orders are what drive, they are what drive direction. We have a kind of a confluence of a few things. We have the overnight high here. We have yesterday's high. They're both going to likely act as resistance. Looks like the ES is starting to push a little bit higher now. Hopefully that stays. And I don't see no reason why this wouldn't, especially if the ES catches a bid, why this wouldn't just sell back down. Just auction through this area. Again, I think we definitely have traders in charge today. Stop moving this thing around so much. One thing we can't have is the ES continue its weakness and drop back in. That's going to put too much pressure on these guys over here to go higher. In fact, it even looks like if it just continues to linger here, that might even cause these guys to go higher. Still don't care for how weak that ES is. I think that just obviously went right up to the VWAP. It's an obvious sell spot for traders. It's going to need to pop that thing, get through there before we get any sort of serious selling going on over here. Although I like how that offer just beefed up right there to 3,500. Let's see if that scares off any of these buyers. Here we go. Getting some follow through. See, only 600 was real at 29.5. 600 was real at 29. Let's see if 28.5 drops in. See how much is real there. I guess that said, that hopefully sellers are able to push this through and just abide by the volume profile here. But I guess on a chart that 25.5 and 28, or excuse me, 28.5 and 28 would be support. So if there was going to be like a trend day or any sort of a move higher, 'cause like I said, that profile step pretty much held the whole time during the overnight. So 28.5 and 28 would be support for any sort of move higher. Definitely need to get through that level. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I like that sellers just stepped up right there, but then buyers just came back with the same amount of pizzazz or aggression, I guess. Don't care for that. Don't care for how weak the ES is. Be a really good excuse just to blow right through us. See, buyers are still trying to push that thing down, or sellers, excuse me. The other thing I've been trying to work on lately is not getting caught up in all the tick drama. It's sort of counterintuitive when you're reading order flow, but it's always good to step back a little bit and look at the bigger picture. Damn, these buyers just keep pushing that right back up. I think if we get a little bit of a rally here in the ES, it'll be enough to get us down back to the point of control. Can't get above 36 in the ES. It's the second time it was sold pretty well at that level. Still have active sellers at our entry. Let's see if they can get through 36. Fourth time's a charm. Come on. Let's go off for a 28.5. Come on, push it. I need to see this bid pull off. Like I said, that's support for a move higher. Hasn't pulled off. It's still not pulling off. That's not good. It's got to pull off. That's going to be the key right there, this key level. It seems really obvious. Tempted to reverse position at 828.5, just based on the fact that this thing did not pull off at all. Five-year still trying to hold it down. If that was up above our line here, I'd be really, really nervous. Or concerned, I guess. The ES dropped all the way down into the lows, and we only lost one tick out of that move. So if we get any sort of bid over there in the ES, any sort of push higher, I think this will we'll get some additional selling down here. But flip side of that is if the ES breaks the lows, starts creating new lows, I think this goes, you know, buyer step up and we start to push this thing up through the overnight high. So that's really, we're kind of at the precipice here. Just sort of have to take your bets. So the Ultra Bond's starting to bid up, so's the 30-year, and here goes the 5-year. This might have to scratch this thing. It's kind of what I was thinking earlier. It's going to be a it's going to be an all or nothing trade. In other words, I wasn't about to take 2 ticks out of this thing. Yeah, this is going to go. I think it's regardless of what the ES does at this point, so. Nobody's even hitting this thing back down to sell it again. Nobody's hitting it back down. It just might blow right through my stop at this point. $400 in the queue. All right, 8 a.m. I'm fucking done.